Thank you so much, Executive Mayor, Dr. Panyaza. Let me acknowledge the program directors and also acknowledge the family of Don Sugar Mlangeni Nawa, especially his wife and the children and grandchildren, the leadership of our movement, led here and represented here. And thank you so much, our SG, for joining us here, and members of the National Executive Committee that are here, ministers and deputy ministers, the Executive Mayor of Ekurhuleni, members of the Mayoral Committee, the Chief Whip of Council, as well as the leadership of various political parties here, with the provincial leadership of the EFF represented here by Comrade Dunga, the leadership of ACDP, the leadership of Action SA, the leadership of DA, and various political parties that are here. Allow me to acknowledge the leadership of the church and various formations, as well as representatives of business, labor, civil movements, and the arts industry. Fellow mourners, haebane ke thato ya hao modimo, teng ho lokile. O ne re kadimile motswalle wa re putsa ka lerato, empa haebane ke thato ya hao, le teng re sa re ho lokile. On behalf of the people of Gauteng and its institutions, we bow down to honor and appreciate your presence. We join you and many others across the globe to extend our heartfelt condolences to the Mlangeni, our family, friends, and relatives of Shu. We are indeed saddened by his departure, but proud of his work and teachings. The presence of leaders and former leaders, the presence of ministers and former ministers, the presence of traditional leaders, the presence of actors and actresses is an affirmation that today we are sending a farewell to a very powerful member of our society. The further presence of young and old members of our creative industry is an affirmation that we are bidding farewell not to an ordinary person, but a person of impeccable credentials. A special breed shaped and sharpened by our struggle for peace and freedom. An activist of note, a Congress member. We come to you limping and heavily wounded. We come to you hurt and disturbed. We come to you all injured purely because what we used to cherish, it's no more. But it was the Russian novelist Leo Tolstoy who said, and I quote, "If you feel pain, you are alive. But if you feel the pain of others, you are a human being." End of quote. So I'm assigned an unenviable task to persuade you to accept that Comrade Don Mlangeni Nawa is no more, whilst I also need to be persuaded to accept that he's no more. We stand here as the Gauteng government, as the African National Congress in Gauteng and our alliance partners, to declare that what we used to cherish has not only left us, it has left us disturbed. Our minds may function, but our thoughts are troubled. Death has robbed the people of South Africa, one of its finest sons who valued the development of his people more than his own life and personal comfort. The untimely death of Bradon has not only robbed his family of a caring father, an uncle and a son. Indeed, his departure from our midst is a great loss to the people of our country and the creative industry. Fellow mourners, Before us lie a body of a special actor. Before us lie a body of a special citizen of our country, an award-winning actor, but most importantly, a mentor, a creative artist, a one-man union, a fighter against the exploitation of artists, a believer in our freedom. It is difficult to describe the pain and sadness in our heart as we bid farewell to our dear friend, brother, and reliable activist, whom we shared so much over a long period. Bradon is so much more than a fellow countryman. He was part of our well-being, our surroundings, and our work. Television was television because of his work. Talented, he was. Skillful, no doubt. Loving and caring were his hallmarks, but above all, he remained humble. Ours was to marvel at your dedication and your hard work. Ours was to appreciate your humanity and commitment to our cause. Ours was to appreciate the role you played to serve and service our people. What struck me more about Bradon was his absolute humility. There was no pretension and self-importance, yet he was a great, outstanding artist. There was no arrogance, only warmth and comradeship. There was no political pettiness, only maturity, deep wisdom and vision. It is these qualities of humility, selflessness, integrity, and self-sacrifice and dedication that we honor him today. This is what we should all emulate from him. Bradon was meticulous. With a wealth of knowledge, he was dependable, ethical. In him, the art industry has lost a good man. In him, the art sector has lost an innovator, a pathfinder, but most importantly, a special actor. He was one of the special generation of actors, of activists, who combined acumen with activist skills, underpinned by organizational loyalty and discipline, a role model for future artists. He never ever lost his cool, even when society asked tough questions. Never deflected to the issues that were assigned to him. He knew that ours was to account, but most importantly, to educate and entertain society. He was informed, persuasive, kind, and also he was a funny person with all the funny hallmarks that we have all characterized since his passing. So we are all poorer today without him. But personally, I've lost the person who believed in me so much. I've lost the person who loved my work. I've lost the person who cared for me. I've lost the person who did things for me when I least expected him to do them. Few days before his final call, he video called me, excited and happy that he was recovering. Once more, he committed his love for our work in government, and he also persuaded us to ensure that we give support to those that need support. I'm not surprised, but deeply touched by what his wife said earlier on this morning, because Don also pleaded with us to support them for self-sustainability. He hated begging. When last I visited him in his sick bed, I felt his love for his family. It was not about him, but how his family should be protected and be supported. We shared many historic moments together with Brashuga, both in politics as well as within the art industry. He was a card-carrying member and a proud member of the African National Congress and participated in our branch activities freely, and he loved creative work within the political framework and honestly and openly volunteered his services free of charge to this noble movement of the people. As the ANC, we are not only hurt, but have lost a soldier on an eve of a crucial war that we need to win. So we want to thank him for his teachings as a great actor. You allowed us to ensure that we move with you in difficult paths. Even when we were hated and insulted, you protected us. You ensured that this movement is not only protected, but is promoted at all costs. The movement of the people will miss you. In your memory, Iziko will be supported. In your memory, Iziko will be strengthened. In your memory, Iziko will never be dismantled, but will remain a torchbearer, not only for its government work and educational work, but also for its work in the African National Congress. We are proud as the Gauteng government to declare and to endorse the call that was made by the MEC responsible for arts and culture in our province, that we are going to launch a mentorship program for upcoming artists, and this mentorship program is going to be called Don Mlangeni Mentorship Program. This is to preserve your name, but this is to honor you, and it's also to thank you. And we really believe you deserve more than this honor. I want to take this opportunity to thank the Executive Mayor and all political parties that are in the Ekurhuleni Metro. To Executive Mayor, thank you. Thank you for bestowing the highest honor of the city to this special citizen of Ekurhuleni. We thank you for this gesture, Executive Mayor. When you were facing a motion against your leadership, you convened a special council meeting not to defend yourself, but to affirm Bradon and to honor Bradon. For that, we want to say thank you. We want to thank all political parties, staff, and members of Ekurhuleni Executive Council for demonstrating love when love was needed, for demonstrating passion when passion was called for, but most importantly, for raising the name of Don Mlangeni now. To Bradon's children, you had a good father, an activist who sacrificed everything for the freedom we enjoy today. He was caring, he was respectful, he was loving and committed to the ideals of a free country without exploitation. He was committed to the stories that make sense, stories that build the nation. That's a gift he's leaving you with. To his loving wife, House Regina, my dearest sister, we tried. We tried. We tried everything. But what I noticed is that you demonstrated your love freely, not only for him, but also for your children. It was Henry Ford who said, and I quote, "When everything seems to be going against you, remember that the airplane takes off against the wind, not with the wind." End quote. To all of us here, let's release him. Let's release him back to our Creator. Let's allow him to reconnect with those that played the same part. Let the story continue up there with Stomo and many others that are waiting to welcome him. To Bradon, my good brother, go well. Go well. You played your part, and for that you are grateful. Go well, my good brother. Betrayal to the artist is not an option. Betrayal to the exploitation of artists will be defended. The love you showed us will always be appreciated. One day, who knows? Sizomemeza. Go well, Mpichaka.